So now let me explain what they're all fighting about. Governor Walker says that there will be a deficit of more than $3 billion over the next 2 years. His solution is to cut state workers' benefits by $300 million. Now pause to do the math there. That doesn't add up. That doesn't get you there. It doesn't even get you close to there. Now the proposal requires most public workers to pay half of their pension costs and 12% of their health care premiums, which is twice of what they pay now. And it eliminates unions' collective bargaining rights on everything except salaries. But get this, even then, salary negotiations are limited by the Consumer Price Index, which is just inflation. So in other words, it's just pegged to inflation. So they don't have that right either. So some state workers are exempt in the bill. Now, this is an interesting part. Police, firefighters, and state troopers. Now, I wonder why that happened. Are you sitting? It turns out the major public safety unions in Wisconsin just happened to support Governor Walker in his election campaign last year. What a coinky-dink. So they get off, but everybody else gets punished. I mean, cuts that are important spending cuts happens to fall just squarely on their shoulder. And the governor isn't just stripping public employees of their bargaining rights, he's threatening them. First, he threatened layoffs, saying, quote, "They're much better off doing what we're proposing in this budget repair bill than looking at 5,500 layoffs of state workers and anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 layoffs in local government. That's a clear threat. You better play ball, otherwise I'm going to fire you." Walker also threatened to bring in the National Guard to deal with the protesters, which I think is outrageous. Look, some of the members of the Guard don't want to be used against the unions because, first, it's an abuse of the National Guard, and second, because some of them are in the union. What are they going to do? Intimidate themselves? So, now, on the national level, the Republicans are closing ranks behind Walker, which is, of course, what they always do. Here's what young gun Congressman Paul Ryan of Wisconsin had to say today about the protests.
It's like Cairo has moved to Madison these days.
All right, so would that make Governor Walker the equivalent of Hosni Mubarak? Way to paint your own guy as a dictator, genius. And that's supposed to be the really smart Republican. All right, Governor Walker insists that his plan is the only way to deal with the budget shortfall. But you only need to go one state over to see that that's actually not at all true. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton has a different plan. Last week, Dayton vetoed Republican spending cuts, then rolled out his own proposal, a plan that does what almost every other elected official is too afraid to do: raise taxes on the rich. By the way, that's what got him elected. Mark Dayton inherited a deficit that will be $6.2 billion over the next 2 years. His proposal fixes almost half of that shortfall by raising taxes by a few percent on the top 5% of Minnesotans. So 95% don't get any tax increase whatsoever. Dayton's plan would almost cut the deficit in half over those 2 years. Now, let's compare the situation in Wisconsin to that in Minnesota, because I think it's really instructive. Wisconsin governor wants to slash the workers' rights and benefits, which gets him $330 million. Minnesota's governor wants to implement a slight tax increase, about 3% on the rich, which gets him almost $3 billion. So, let's summarize here. A small tax increase for the rich gets you 10 times better results. Now you tell me, which one of those options makes more sense?